Hello guys, welcome to another video. The videos just keep on rolling lately. I'm pumping them out left and right. Today we're going to take an out-of-the-box spec check look at a set of true PX5 leg pads. If you've been following along with recent videos, I talked about how I was going to be getting these leg pads in the future, and I have already come out with a video on the PX5 glove and blocker, both an out-of-the-box and review on it. And again, if you've been following along and heard what I said in those videos, the whole reason why I got those gloves even ahead of time of these leg pads is I got them to go with the CCM PX5 leg pads that I've also done reviews and videos on already, because I couldn't find the CCM gloves in the specs I wanted, mainly the glove angle. I couldn't find it in the 590 glove. So I figured the next best thing was just go ahead and get the PX5 gloves. That way I knew I was going to get the leg pads anyway, so I would already have those gloves and I just use them for the PX5 pads also. So already a video on the PX5 glove and blocker. If you're interested in that, check that out. That's separate. This is going to be the start of talking about the leg pads. Like I said, this video is just out of the box look at the build and specs of the PX5 pad. I have not used them yet. There will be a separate review video after just talking about my experience using it. But these are PX5 leg pads. Now, I want to give a disclaimer, and this is the same disclaimer I gave on the glove and blocker. So I'm going to throw around the word stock. I'm saying these are stock pads because I didn't make a custom order myself. I bought them straight from a retailer, online retailer. Here's the thing with the PX5 line currently right now. If you recall, if you're familiar with True in their previous Catalyst line, the PX3, so the PX designation, the P specifically, is what they designated for custom orders that were made in North America. Then they had a 9X3 line that was still considered their pro level, but that's what True put out as their own stock spec pad, and that was actually made overseas. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what countries made it, but it wasn't North American made. Now, so far, I don't know if they're planning on doing like a 9X5 line too with this. Right now, all I've seen is this PX5, and really, it's not a stock pad put out by True. True is taking custom orders with this. And so what retailers have done is they've kind of placed their own custom order as to what they want to stock in their own specific store as their quote unquote stock line of PX5. So all that being said, there could be differences a little bit in this gear depending on what retailer you buy from. From Goalie Monkey, Pure Goalie. I actually found these at Goalies Plus. And actually the thing was, and the reason why I didn't get these leg pads earlier, because when I was looking at like Goalie Monkey and Goalies Plus, when I was looking at the product description, it said they didn't have the Diamond Glide. And that's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest reason I wanted to give these a try is this new Diamond Glide, because I've heard rave reviews about it, and True's previous special sliding material was absolute crap that I saw firsthand, used firsthand. So I was really interested to see, okay, how much of improvement have they made in this? But some of these other retailers, their quote unquote stock pad didn't come with the Diamond Glide, or that's not how they ordered it. Finally found this at Goalies Plus, that they had it with the Diamond Glide. So I ordered it. But yeah, and that goes, again, even with the glove and blocker could be a little different thing. It's not going to necessarily be the same specs across every retailer. So definitely check the product description depending on what retailer you're looking at. Even better if you can call up, talk to somebody just to be sure you know what you're getting, okay? So yeah, again, it's not a stock pad put out by True per se. These are just the custom orders that retailers ordered themselves to stock in their own store as their own custom pad. So I'll say stock pad. I'll say stock in this video because I just bought it again from a retailer in their specs. I didn't make my own specs, but you know, there's kind of that, it's not necessarily stock like traditionally, you've come to know what a stock pad is. But anyway, enough with that. Let's take a look at the pad. So some obvious things out of the box I knew I could see right away. The boot and even the overall pad just thinned out even more. And not that I thought the 9X3 pad I had wasn't thin, but this is something they've been doing ever since the 12.1 line. And I had 12.1, and one of my main criticisms of that pad was that it just seemed kind of like an older style, really chunky pad still. And as opposed to their glove and blockers, which I feel like they really have been doing little to no change over the generations, you can definitely see changes in the leg pad. So why there's that difference where they're willing to do a lot of changes with the leg pads and not so much the glove and blocker, I don't know. But I have been seeing significant changes in the leg pads, and in my opinion, for the better. There's a lot of stuff I would have liked them to do. So this pad is really nice and thin. I love how thin it is. And then, you know, this is like come to be a signature true thing where they do this with the thigh rise. This is even thinner. Like it was a similar shape with the 9X3, PX3 pads, but they even thinned it out more. But the way this works is it kind of starts out a little thicker here, and then it really kind of gets into like a notch here and super thin. I'll say that this is, going on a limb and say this is probably the thinnest thigh rise available. It is ridiculously thin, yet ridiculously stiff. This is a single brake pad. There's no brake up here, and yeah, these are stiff. Like, I mean, the CCM E-Flex 7 pads I have, they are also a single brake, but you can get a little flex at the top if you really put some effort into it. This is really not doing anything at the top. Any flex you're seeing is coming from this brake down here. That top is just, I don't even know if there's anything stiffer going today. But so the fact that they can do that and still make it super thin is really good. You got a nice defined and solid and stiff landing surface that is always going to help with sliding, as opposed to something cushiony and soft. And then you got, like I mentioned already, they have their Diamond Glide, that it's new with this pad, that they finally listened to people. I mean, there's from the 12.1 to the PX3, they were still trying to push this, what did they call it? Quick Glide, I think was the name, their own term for it, but it was their sliding material. And it was just so bad. It was so bad. It was the worst sliding material of any brand I've tried. And really, that in and of itself pretty much ruined my experience with the 9X3 pad for me. Like, there was a lot of things I thought was hypothetically good about the 9X3 pad, but just I couldn't get past how bad the sliding was on it, and it just kind of ruined my experience with it. So I feel like my 9X3 experience was tainted just from that. So I'm really excited to get this on the ice now that apparently this is great. Big improvement, slides just as good as almost anything else. This is all things I've heard. So if that's the case, I'm really going to be able to get the whole sliding issue out of the way and be able to try to appreciate everything else about the pad that seems pretty good to me. It's got a nice flexible boot, which I always like. There's always going to be people that like one option over the other. So I'm sure there's still people that do like a really stiff and angled boot. I personally like a flat boot and a soft boot. I just think it gives you more mobility, especially doing anything like an RVH, or even just really loading up or doing athletic, really big movements, pushes, whatever. I just never thought a stiff and or steep boot was the way to go for me. Just about everybody or all the companies in the industry are going this way, it seems like. I mean, most of the stock pads I've been trying all have the soft boot now. It's like, at one point they were all doing the stiff and like high angled, and now it's all like soft and more flat boot. It's just, given its ebbs and flows, it seems like it switches back and forth. Personally, I think that the stiff and angled boot was maybe more for back when guys were still doing a lot of just pure blocking butterfly type play. In that case, I could kind of see how that angled boot would kick out rebounds a certain way and do certain things. But in the way the game is right now and the way the game is taught and played by the top level goalies, I just don't see how that helps. I just think a softer boot is the way to go. But again, that's just my opinion. But I do like that that's how the boot is on this. Looking at the knee stack, this is pretty much the same knee stack they've been going with for a while now, especially from the 9X3 that I had. Unlike a lot of companies, this does not have the integrated knee block. This is still kind of old school where it's just attached with the inner and outer portion here with Velcro. So, you know, it has a decent amount of give. That's just the decision they made. It's not the hugest deal for me. I mean, I don't like something that's just has no support and is just flopping all over the place. This is not quite that, but this is, at this point, this might be the have the most flex and range of motion of any pad right now, because I feel like just about every other pad I've been using, they've really gone to lengths to stiffen it up, and like I said, a lot of them even integrate it into the pad, and this is just a little more of an old school style of this. You know, how big a deal is it really? Probably not that big a deal, but it's just interesting to note that they're just not going with the crowd right now with the knee landing area. So I already took this off because I don't strap it across, I strap it down, but this does come with the removable outer knee wing that you can Velcro this knee strap across this way. Like I said, I already took it off, so it's off. But let's open this up and look inside the leg panel. So in here you see they have their FRS fast rotation strapping here. This, I believe, I want to say it started with the 12.2 line. So they've had this for a while now, and it's been very successful for them. Most people seem to like this, so hence why they've been keeping it. I have used it in past shoe pads and it worked just fine for me. It's not, is it like the most optimal calf strapping that I would prefer? No, I like something even a little simpler than this, but it didn't it wasn't bad. It didn't inhibit me. It was fine. Okay. You know, I prefer something a little more open in this area, but considering how much of a material this is and how kind of possibly restricting it does look and how much material covers your leg, it surprisingly worked out decently for me when I've used this in the past, so I don't foresee this being an issue. But like I said, in general, for most guys, from what I hear and whatever, most people like this FRS setup, and actually a lot of companies have tried to copy this to varying degrees of success. I would say if you do like this style, this is the best version of it. Other companies have tried to copy it. It just hasn't really worked, in my opinion. And then, as with a lot of pads, this does come with a calf pillow. I'd really have to take a look at the PX3 again, but I feel like this is thicker than I remember the calf pillow being on other pads, past shoe pads. It is decent thickness, because there's been some pads I've had where it has it does have a calf pillow, but for all intents and purposes, it's almost nothing. It's barely anything. This is significant enough that I would say, yeah, you know, you might feel the extra comfort of the plushness of this. You know, people say it's kind of like a cheater thing where it can help get your leg, get the leg pad to seal the ice a little faster. If it does, we're talking like a millisecond, which, yeah, I guess could potentially make a difference. All in all, I've used pads with and without the calf pillow. I don't see a significant difference for me personally, but I also don't think it's any negative, whatever, so I don't mind that it's there. I could take it or leave it. And then it's just got a very traditional outer calf wrap that just ties all this together so it's not loose flapping around. Let me just open this here. So this backside of the pad where the knee is, and even down into the calf area, is just nylon. This is a very simple, bare bones design. This is pretty much what they've been doing for a while, and I'm good with it. I've used all different kinds of materials in here. I don't really think one material makes much more of a difference than the other. Personally, I've never had the thought to myself like, man, this special whatever material this company uses just great out of this. I don't notice one way or the other. Like, this nylon's fine. Other ones have used like a mesh or just some other weird material, and it doesn't, one way or the other, it doesn't change my experience with the pad. So like, I'm fine with them just going this bare bones nylon route in there. Then we go down to the boot, and again, this is nothing new, and this is even just throughout, again, the industry and other people, just about no current pad right now has a boot channel anymore. They all do this flat boot area. The CCM Flex 7s I've recently reviewed had a tiny bit still of a boot channel, barely, super shallow though. That's probably the one pad currently that I would say has the most of a boot channel, but it's really almost nothing. But this one is really nothing. It's just flat boot, and that's, like I said, pretty much how every pad is these days. And then the toe tie situation it comes with, this is True's kind of proprietary, somewhat bungee Velcro toe tie system. So this part is just a skate lace area that's stiff. It doesn't have like give or elasticity to it. The elasticity comes in this section that goes around your skate and then Velcros around your skate. So it is like, you know, a kind of a hybrid thing of skate lace and some elasticity. Now, I've tried different brands, versions of this to varying degrees of success. Usually I'm not really in love with it. I think I remember that the past True pads I've used that has this, like, it was fine. I was able to just use it with this. Ultimately, my third-party Kova toe tie system is just still my favorite. So we'll see. I'll give it a try with this, at least one skate. And if it feels horrible, I'll throw the Kovas on. And I know the Kovas are going to be good. So we'll see. But I'll give it at least a shot. But yeah, in general, this is not the toe tie system I prefer. But we'll see. Another thing that, like, again, going back to talking about how each retailer kind of did their own little specs with their custom stock order for themselves. This pad, they did weave on some of the graphic areas. So it is all white, but you can see the differentiation between just the Gen Pro and the weave. And it's actually kind of interesting because there's points where the classic weave material meets the Diamond Glide, and you can really see like the difference. The classic weave looks like classic weave on just about any brand's weave will have this same kind of shape to it. It's more, I would say, a rectangular shape to the weave pattern, whereas the Diamond Glide, and I don't know, this is probably not coming across very well on the camera, but the Diamond Glide literally has the shape of diamonds, or I guess squares you could say, but whatever, square/diamond shape to the weave pattern. Other than that though, like, just feeling the two, they don't necessarily feel any different. And in the past, like I said, their quick glide material was terrible, but in the past, their weave was the best sliding material to go with. I would tell people, I had tried a pair of Bob's Pro Return leg pads, and that they had weave on the sliding surface, and they actually slid really good. I liked them. So I would always tell people to get, in the past, to get the weave for the sliding surface, and I wasn't alone. A lot of people were saying that. So we'll see when I do use these if it's just kind of about the same as the weave, which again is not bad. I mean, but we'll see if it actually goes above and beyond that. As, I mean, if you're advertising something that's a specific sliding surface, it should be your best sliding material, right? Which obviously was not the case in the past, like I've been saying. But just feeling it, it feels about the same. I don't know if they do anything else to this material. So sort of like how Vaughn with their quick slide material, yes, it kind of has the same weavish look to it as well. It looks kind of like Brian's Primo, and it basically is Brian's Primo, but the difference with Vaughn compared to Brian's Primo, they add this chemical sealant to it that they call it glass. It's not literally glass, that's just the terminology they use, but it's just some chemical that they add to it. And in my opinion, that's what gives it just that little extra oomph that makes it even better than Brian's Primo. And to me, I consider it the best sliding material out there. So again, I don't know if there's something going on like that with this material that makes it even better than weave, or if it's just going to perform basically like True's weave that I've used in the past. So we'll see. Either way, like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about it. Let me see. As far as the face of the pad, it's not very squishy. I don't think this is made to like deaden pucks, as really no pads put out are made to deaden pucks. Everyone's obsessed with huge rebounds. Well, again, haven't used it, so we'll see how the rebounds are in this. But in past True pads, you know, they were fine. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just kind of middle of the road type of rebounds. So we'll see how, if they've improved that with this or whatever. You know, they're still going with knee rolls on this, and as opposed to, if you saw my CCM eFlex 7 videos, those knee rolls were purely faux knee rolls, like purely aesthetics. They were like completely flat. This, you can see it actually does come up from the pad, so it is still acting somewhat like a knee roll. Now, it's still a lot less than old school knee rolls were, but I'll keep beating this drum. I don't see the point of knee rolls anymore. I don't think it does anything. I would have been fine with a completely flat face pad, but this is every company's way of signaling that this is their hybrid pad, even though there's really no such thing anymore. Other than that, you know, as always with True, everything looks put together very well. The stitching, the material, you know, that's pretty much True's calling card, is their craftsmanship, and that all seems very good with this. I got 33 plus 2 is the size. Again, if you've been following along with most of my videos, you know I pretty much wear 33 and everything. Now, if I had my way, I would have preferred something smaller than a plus 2. When I've gone custom with True in the past, I've done plus 1.5, or I would have even gone with 33 plus 1. The thing though, I've noticed with True, for whatever reason, at the stock retail level, and again, not even just with this quote unquote stock, but literally their stock pads from past lines, I feel like I've only ever seen plus 2. Like they don't like putting out anything less than plus 2 at the stock level. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll see if that comes into play, that I feel like the thigh rise is too big for me. I really don't like a big thigh rise, because I just feel like a lot of times it ends up interfering with each other. So 33 plus 2, because that's really all that was available. But so, I mean, I have confidence it's going to fit to the knee. It's just a matter of, we'll see if the thigh rise might be an issue. But, you know, one of the things that helps it not be an issue is a really thin thigh rise, and like I said before, this might be the thinnest thigh rise out there. The shape of the pad, I'm going to try to back this out a little bit. Like I said, the boot is fairly flat. It has a slight angle, and then this comes up this way, and then this has a little bit of an angle back. So again, I got to use it, but we'll see how that angle works for me. I've personally noticed that for a pad to work for me, either two things. One that I've been doing for years is ordering custom, where I get it more flexible. Either the brand has its own flex core build, or I order a second break up top internally that will give it a flex. And then if possible, I'll get like a thigh strap to help pull it down, to really flex it down when I'm in my butterfly or whatever. That is the surefire way for a pad to work for me, right? But that requires me to go custom, because no pad is doing that stock, and I don't expect them to. I understand that's not a popular thing, but the few stock pads I've had that work for me, usually the reason for that is they're angled back enough from the knee up to the top that it helps me close the 5-hole in the butterfly, and it also helps get the thigh rise out of the way of each other, because when the pad is too straight and you don't have a wide butterfly, that thigh rise is sticking straight out. It's hitting each other. It might even hit your stick. It's not a good thing to have. So, you know, it doesn't look like it's angled that much back, but we'll see. It might be just enough to make it work for me. But, you know, in general, just looking at this, I feel like it has a lot of good things going for it. Like I said, the thinness of it, the improved, hopefully, I mean, again, haven't used it, the improved sliding surface, just the general quality of True, the nice soft boot. I mean, these are all things I like. Like I said, I've already used this strapping system, so I know I can use it. It's not a problem for me, even if it's not the absolute most ideal one, but it's fine. I can use it. So, you know, we'll see. I'm excited to give this a try. This falls under, again, back if you saw my video of when I went to a hockey shop in Canada, and it was like a kid in a candy store because I don't have that here in South Florida. A lot of these pretty much videos ever since then have come from that trip because I got to see all this stuff in the store and I was like, yes, I want to try that. Yes, I want to try that. There's like 4 different purchases I made that was just made from going to that store and seeing things in person and liking what I saw and wanting to give it a try. So this is another one of these things that I really liked what I saw in the store. And I was just really so disappointed with the 9X3 pad that I tried, like I said, because I just felt like I never got to give it a fair shake because of that horrible sliding material. Like, if I could have got it with, really ideally, weave would have been, like I said, at the time was their best material, or even just Gen Pro. But unfortunately, their stock pads, other than if you went with an all black pad, always came with their quick slide material, which was terrible. So I'm glad that I'm going to get to really appreciate and see other features of this pad rather than it just right off the bat feeling like shit because I can't move in it, I can't slide in it, and all that stuff. So, yep, I'll give these a try and I'll, you know, make a review video. But other than that, if you guys have any questions just out of any build specs of it, any out of the box stuff, I'll be happy to answer that. Just leave a comment. I always answer everybody. And that's the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.